Hello, I am Nivrajendra, and this is the Embodied Ayurveda podcast. Here you receive authentic, comprehensive, high level Ayurvedic and yogic insights so that you can truly level up your wellness practices and profession. I think this episode is really about me getting some things off my chest. Okay? Just let it be here. Let it be known. The real mistakes I see out there in the wellness industry right now, including in some Ayurvedic treatment centers. So, you have to know this about me. I don't claim Ayurveda is perfect. Okay? Because so much of Ayurveda is contingent on the practitioner's rationale and inner wisdom. And that really requires a lot of daily sadhana, discipline, self purification, and not everyone is doing the work. I am not here claiming perfection by any means. Never think that, please. But I am constantly reorienting myself. I am constantly inquiring, anchoring back, investing in mentors with a specific faith-centered attitude, committing to a mindset of deep love and grace. And I really take this seriously. Like maybe I take it too seriously to really be cultivating that inner discernment and wisdom. And this has required deep devotion from me, deep discipline. You can't make this stuff up. You can't fake it, okay? So what are some of the gaps that I see that I want you as a yearning, holistic leader, wellness practitioner, or even a seasoned coach, seasoned therapist, teacher? I want you to keep this in your mind's eye because I am really sure that you are here to cut through the noise, elevate, and tend to the root of disease for your clients and loved ones. So, hear me out. The first is I know that there is all this fancy neuroscience and nutritional science coming out on all sorts of different things. And some of it is super fascinating. It actually affirms what traditional sciences from across the world have been saying for thousands of years already. But some of it isn't foolproof. Some of it hasn't been tested for long enough. Some of it hasn't been experimented with or tested in enough different contexts. And oftentimes gives us these one-size-fit-all protocols or ideas that are very numerical and material, and it actually leaves out a lot. It's really hard to say which aspects of the science that are coming out right now are legit, which still need more expansive study. So I'll give you two examples, right? On intermittent fasting and cold exposure, because both are huge trends right now. And both have so much science and data backing them up on muscle recovery, nervous system regulation, performance, weight loss, increased metabolism, tissue health. So all of this is true for some people, okay? Intermittent fasting is absolutely great if you do tend towards heaviness in your body, you have an accumulation of toxins, you have unhealthy fat buildup, but playing with the natural rhythms and cycles of the body, creating more lightness in the mind-body system through fasting, it needs to be done with care. Because if not, it will actually cause more harm than good. One very big example, it can cause fragility to the menstrual cycle and cause missed periods when integrated in the wrong moment. Over time, completely destabilizing the reproductive tissue and causing infertility. Now tell me, how many women do you know that are suffering from irregular periods? Does modern science teach you about the interconnectedness, about why intermittent fasting could potentially aggravate this situation? And this is where even well meaning recent studies on longevity and performance are limited, because Ayurveda tells you exactly what types of people and contexts certain protocols are will be the best possible outcome or option for them, or at least tell you exactly how and what to pay close attention to in order to know the consequences of an integration, if this is working, if this is not, to see the interrelatedness. It gives you all these tools. And the other example is cold plunges, ice baths. Again, so much data on endorphins, immunity, mood that has been showcased, but there are cases in which too much cold exposure can, in fact, weaken the muscle tissue and aggravate an underlying energy of fear and anxiety. And I know that breathing through this exposure helps to increase one's capacity to withstand stressful situations. But for some, their mind-body system is just not ready. And I've seen the way that some people conduct this. It's like where is the aftercare? Where is understanding someone's unique situation before you invite them into this thing, into this coldness, this cold energy? So I'll just explain it a little bit. If there's a deep aggravation of vata, so vata we understand is the wind functional energetic within the mind body system. Okay, because Ayurveda we understand we are created of 5 major elements, and these elements are in interplay within us, around us, in all things. So that's how we kind of understand the basic fabric of being. And vata is a combination of the space and the air element together, creating this kind of wind type energetic with its very specific qualities. So within us, when this vata energy, this wind like energy, is aggravated, it causes a lot of fragility and anxiety, ADHD, imbalances, gut imbalances, insomnia, irregularity in the periods and the mind. And there's a specific quality associated with vata. There are many qualities associated with vata. One of them is the quality of coldness. Vata, this wind energy, is inherently cold. So when you are increasing cold exposure to the body, this is going to increase and aggravate vata energetically, physiologically through the body. Like I said, in chronic states, this can lead to tremors, amnesia, paralysis, anxiety, restlessness, menstrual disorders. So you need to be careful, you know? I'm not a fan of just jumping into these trends, and really, the trends is one thing, but facilitating the trend without really understanding the deeper implications, I find that to be very harmful, to be quite honest. And so many of these trends have come out from neuroscience studies and things like that, right? So we have to be discerning. And also, how many times have we seen science change? Modern science is not truth. It is what got funded, what is politically acceptable, what suits the current systems, what supports big corporations. Let's just not get that mixed up. So some study comes out, or even studies have been coming out for 20 years, right? And then 20 years later, there's science to debunk it. Like, how many times have you seen that? So you have to be careful as someone that's facilitating wellness and excited about modern science and what's coming out, but you have to be discerning, right? You have to be discerning, know when to apply what, and that's where Ayurveda really comes in, because I understand the energetics of cold baths, plunges, ice baths, and intermittent fasting. And sometimes I recommend those myself to people. But I know that it's precisely what that person needs and will be received well. There are times when I do not recommend it. Please do not fast. You need the 3 meals a day. So again, I'm not saying everything is false, blah blah blah. I love listening to neuroscience podcasts. I love reading contemporary literature on all this stuff, but I just yet to find something as deep and nuanced as Ayurveda that's not one size fit all. So take this modern literature with a pinch of salt. That's it. Don't make the mistake of just pushing something intensely because one person you follow, talks about it and did it and it feels like the thing. Because even if one person suffers from it, it's just not worth it. Okay, that's my belief. Okay, that everyone that comes to me, it needs to be received correctly, coherently, for their unique self. And I've seen this with certain supplements too. This way of working is just not in alignment also with the more mature practice of inner listening and gentleness that I really advocate for. Okay, so enough on that. The second one that I have to bring here is you cannot leave out the subtle energetics involved in wellness. But I really don't see that being understood in the wellness industry. So, what do I mean by subtle energetics? Okay, let me just say, like, for example, with food, right? People are still categorizing, like, top nutritionists I see out there, categorizing things as proteins and fats and carbs and fiber. You need this much protein, and it doesn't matter if that protein comes in the form of a protein powder or duck eggs or nuts, just you get the protein in. You see that, right? It's just filling those buckets, basically. What about the life force, the pranic quality of each food? What about the effects of that? What about the subtler functional aspects, like if it has a quality of heaviness or dullness, right? Protein that is pre-frozen and packaged versus protein that's coming from a fresh, well-cooked source, they have actually very different effects on the mind-body system. Powerful ones, okay? What about the energy of purity and equilibrium that a food can bring into your body and that a client, let's say, might need more of? You see that their mind consistently goes into these fearful loops. Actually, the subtle energetic quality of equilibrium in certain foods can help to shift them out of that. And if you're not suggesting that and they're actually tending to foods that create deeper dullness, then it's going to aggravate that. It's regardless of whether it's protein or fat or carb or whatever. So this is not irrelevant stuff. Is it all about how you look? Is it just about your muscle tone, the hardness of your abs? What about how you feel deep inside? What about your sense of lightness and ease and clarity in your mind? What about your sense of joy cultivated from within? What about the long-term implications on immune health? Is this all irrelevant? No, this is actually the most relevant. It's the most relevant, guys. You need to work from the inside out. This is lasting health. This is deep medicine. This is what we need right now, my loves. This is what you need to bring to your people. I did not get COVID even once, or like it's like anything close to a flu like that, not because I was following this perfect gym routine or fitness routine or nutritional protein plan that I saw on Instagram or that someone told me about, because yeah, obviously I wasn't doing that, but it was really because I was tending to my deeper, subtler, because we are energetic bodies, guys, remember, before we are physical form. I was cultivating resistance on that level through the subtle energetics of food, what I was choosing to eat, the quality. the flavors, and the quality of thoughts and the quality of my breath. I was cultivating radiance in my mind. This is what I teach my students to do in their own lives and to bring to their people. Cultivating radiance from the inside out. And my mind stayed radiant not because I didn't go through hardship, because like Niv has such a good life, right? Whatever, your life is perfect. No. I moved multiple countries. I had excruciating, intense injury. I went through the worst betrayal of my life. Whew, my God. But I had clear attunement to the nuanced energetics going on internally with my vital life force, with harmonious energy, with aligning with my inner blueprint, being supportive of my digestive fire. This is how you need to be tapping into the intelligence of food, not by categorizing it into calories and carbs. This way is just so limited, and it keeps you so so separate from the sacred intelligence of the land even. You need to learn the subtle energetics of all things, because this unseen realm is powerful and affects everything. Everything. This is embedded in pretty much every single phase of my signature program, the Embodied Ayurveda Certification Program, because I understand its potency to really shift you into your seat of power. And once you're there, the possibilities are limitless. That's where opportunities come from. That's where miracles come from. That's where abundance comes from. That's where desires are first fulfilled in the energetic body. Tapping into that in your nutrition, in your lifestyle, in your choices. It's necessary. Just circling back, I don't see enough of this in the wellness industry. The third most important point for me is God has been separated from wellness, and I do believe this is the biggest error. A lot of you might be like, okay, Niv, what's going on here? You might unfollow me, you might judge me for saying this, but I'll say it again. You think that being in reverence to the divine within all things is a separate category of life that you can choose to opt in or out of, and it won't affect your wellness? And maybe you have maybe you have chosen to believe that the word God is owned by religious institutions, when in fact it is the most powerful, cosmically aligned and intelligent aspect of you. The more disconnected you are from this aspect, the more easily fear, sickness, and disease will get you. The more disconnected you are, the more likely you are going to turn to pursuits demanded of you by the ego, which do not always serve your higher self, and definitely not the collective. Now, you don't have to name this aspect God, right? Because I understand a lot of us have grown up in environments where religion or dogma is shoved down our throats in ways that were actually quite violent. And there's a heaviness, there's a trauma that arrives in saying the God word out loud. This word has been abused in the name of violence. So I understand the connotations are complex. It took me years before I received impeccable, let me say this again, impeccable clarity on all of these distortions and realized what was mine to reclaim. But you don't need to use the word God. Use the word source, Buddha consciousness, creator, divine mother, divine universe, guardian angels, Pachamama. I'm talking of a faith that transcends the body, that transcends circumstance. And let me tell you, this level of intimacy and orientation I'm speaking of is extremely rare, even within religious spaces, right? This has nothing to do with religion, actually. The distortions and ignorance is everywhere. This relationship to the divine aspect within you is unique and personal to you, but it is necessary. It is necessary. This relationship, when this piece is lost, and it doesn't matter how good your routine is, it doesn't matter how fit your body looks from the outside, how perfect your life looks, disease will get you. Faith is a superpower. Prayer is the deepest kind of medicine. Reverence and awe of something that is transcendent keeps us humble and far from the harm of self-righteousness. When we are connected to that deep nectar and power within us, we overcome the susceptibility to aggravations of the mind, and this results in so much medicine and so much resilience and immunity. And when we're disconnected, it results in all sorts of behaviors, thoughts, and choices that actually limit our capacity to fully thrive. And I'm sure all of you have felt this. You know this to be true when I say this to you. So recognize that a wellness without the divine is still superficial. And you know me, I like to go all the way deep down under, baby. And that's actually where I am right now. So this is a side note. If any of you are listening to this, you're based in Sydney, eastern suburbs, reach out, let yourself be known to me. Let us connect more intimately. I'd love that. But coming back to these 3 points, as you can see, they're all interconnected, as they always are. Ancient sciences are divine sciences. They are far superior than any of the new stuff we're working with today. And I'll tell you why, because history is not linear. Systems in past eras were working with intelligences that were so cosmically informed. This is the science of chakras, nadis, life force, astral bodies, working across multiple planes of existence. Methods of observation were just on another level. So if you're going to act like this doesn't exist, like I don't know what you're talking about, this doesn't exist, we don't have access to this, you're really missing something here. Remembering we are energy before we are form, and so are all things. So, if you judge something just based on its form and not its energetic frequency, you're missing something. If you are going about your day not tuning into divine ethics, divine grace, if you're not tuning into God, and by God I mean the truth of all things with a capital T, not a false God that was imposed on you by someone else, you are just going to fall into the same loops and patterns of sickness again and again. And your clients will too. These are the things that I really initiate my students into, so they are equipped for life, so they get to show up for their people with just out of this world leadership, integrity, authority. My work with you is in the intricacies and techniques, but it's also in the softness and the wonder. It's orienting you towards all that is hidden from us, orienting you towards the divine, towards the ancient, towards the subtle. Even I say this, I just feel so much richness in what I offer, in how I work with you. And I use this gorgeous social media and internet technology to invite you into all of this. So I never write off the new. Like I said, I'm always studying contemporary models, but I am telling you, don't get lost in it. Let's remember what is true, truer than true. Let's use that as foundation, as anchor, as base. A lot of you who listen in here work with plenty of different health modalities, right? You've probably found a mix that is so specific to you and your context and your desires, and you maybe even guide others on healing mechanisms, or you support loved ones through the modalities you have used yourself and you have known to be powerful. You've felt them transform you. I celebrates. I celebrate truly deeply. I celebrate what you have chosen for yourself and invite you into adding this unimaginably transformative and delicious layer, the layer that is the universal ancient life science, Ayurveda. Okay, that's it for today, folks. I'm celebrating you today. I'm celebrating your desires, your purpose, your path. May it all continue to unfold in divine perfection for you. And if something here is opening you from the inside as I speak and as I share, listen to that call. Each and every one of my students is in infinite gratitude when they have listened to that call. This is Embodied Ayurveda. Big love. You can find me on Instagram at the rate your health compass. Check the show notes for any details that I might have missed. Bye till next time.